Hello, are you ready for your 10-minute fiction vacay? Do you need a little break or a little pick-me-up? Stay tuned. My name is Marie LeClaire, and I will be reading chapter 7 from my novel, The Last Yard Sale. You can get it for free from Amazon and other booksellers. When we left off, Josh had just arrived in Pomeroy, and he and Marybeth are about to get another surprise encounter. I hope you enjoy chapter 7. Her drive to work was easy and familiar, a predictable 15 minutes under almost any conditions. The small town environment of Pomeroy wasn't affected much by traffic or weather. It had become a little bedroom community for those who didn't mind the hour-plus commute to Philly, but they were usually gone by 7 a.m. With a population close to 8,000, Pomeroy had just enough of a business district to warrant the one traffic light. The center of town had a bed and breakfast, a hiking and biking shop, a country store that carried a little bit of everything, and possibly the smallest post office in the country. The traditional town common, with half a mile of manicured lawn and picturesque country roads, brought people out from the city on long weekends and for summer vacations. Her shop was located on the corner of Main Street and Westfield Road, which was the major intersection in town, and at one end of the green space. One woman's junk had taken off unexpectedly, and now she was busy most days, either in the store or in her garage workshop. She knew her business was allowing her to stay just on the edge of life, like watching the game from the bench. It afforded her long days alone, either working on items or out yard sailing. The store gave her impersonal contact with others and connected to the community. She knew this wasn't the way she wanted to spend the rest of her life, but it served her for the moment. She recalled the conversation with her sister from the day before as she drove into work, smiling when she remembered them laughing together. Until yesterday, she hadn't noticed how laughless her life had become. Her thoughts shifted to her sister's vision, not only the one from yesterday, but the one from 30 years ago, that had bonded them together with either one really knowing it. The whole weekend had been peculiar, and Marybeth was still trying to sort it out. Let's see, she said out loud, a yard sale that wasn't really a yard sale. 4 items that I didn't actually buy, and one already gone. She wondered about the ones that were left. The music box that played her wedding song, the family photo, and the religious book. What next, she thought. The music box had been next in the lineup, and the vision of her wedding. She tried not to think too much about her marriage, not seeing any point in belaboring the past. What would it get her? This music box, however, seemed to have another plan. Fortunately, she was pulling into the alley behind her store and could no longer indulge in deep introspection. Thank God, she thought. As she opened the back door to the shop, she heard a woman call out, "Hey, MB, is that you?" It was Angie. Marybeth had hired her a year ago to help out. Angie kept the store open on weekends while Marybeth was out yard sailing, and she worked a few hours during the week while her kids were at school. She took the part-time job when her youngest started kindergarten last fall. Initially, she planned to take the summer off, but found that she enjoyed the job and the company of another adult. As a single mom, Angie found it challenging to find adult conversation most days and came to appreciate how important it was to her sanity. She had never married her children's fathers. She took a bit of pride in that. Her choice of boyfriends and birth control might have not been so great, but at least she didn't compound it with marriage. Immediately upon employment, Angie decided that the name Marybeth was just too long to say and a bit old maidey, if you asked her. So she started shortening it to MB. Marybeth didn't much care either way and took it as an opportunity to try on something different. Angie was a bit of a character, and Marybeth resigned to roll with it. How'd you make out this weekend? Marybeth paused for an imperceptible moment, memory of the box still fresh in her mind. She was not at all ready to talk about the strange events of the weekend, and she knew bringing up the shelter would shift Angie's attention. Great. Got some interesting stuff for the store and hit the jackpot for the shelter. Super great. Angie admired Marybeth for her compassion for the women there and her ongoing support through donations of household goods. Her sister had spent some time there trying to get out of an abusive relationship. It was a tough time, and she was grateful to have their services available. Angie looked Marybeth up and down, noticing her slightly disheveled appearance. What happened to you? She blurted out. Marybeth smiled a bit and said, It's been a long weekend. In a good way or a bad way? I don't know yet. So far, so good, I guess. Marybeth was relieved that Angie didn't push the issue, and the two of them commenced emptying the car of the new inventory. Marybeth had a system in the back room of the shop. At least she liked to think she did. On this day, as she looked around, she realized it wasn't working very well. Nonetheless, they unloaded the car and sorted it as best they could between those things that needed a little cleanup before they hit the shelves and those that could go straight out. Even the things that could go right into the store needed to be labeled, priced, and inventoried, the latter being Marybeth's responsibility. She used a simple inventory accounting system on her laptop to keep track of things. The cash register was connected wirelessly to the laptop, which modified the inventory listings as things were sold. She loved technology and was determined to stay ahead of a rapidly moving curve. Angie, her exact opposite on this topic, avoided most of the new technology. She didn't even have a cell phone. When Angie asked about it, she waved her off, saying it was just too much trouble, and she didn't really need one anyway. Marybeth suspected there was more to the story, but didn't push it. She figured if people wanted you to know something, they would tell you. She was stocking the shelves with the new items when she heard the tingle of wind chimes that hung over the shop door. She turned to see a well-dressed man in his 40s. Definitely not her typical customer. She pegged him for a salesman. Hello, are you the owner? Yep, salesman. She wasn't in the mood. Depends, she replied. Are you buying or selling? I'll take that as a yes. He nodded slightly. And it depends. Depends on what? I'm interested in talking about a business proposition. This was sounding more like a salesman every minute. Look, if you're selling insurance or advertising or just about anything else, I'm not interested. She put the air of finality on it with the wave of her hand. No, not selling anything. He backed up with his hands raised in surrender, the grin on his face revealing charming dimples. She almost smiled back before her irritation took over. Did I say something amusing to you? She asked flatly. No, not at all. His grin broadened to a full smile. I just realized that's exactly what I sounded like. No, it's nothing like that. Oh, then what's it like? She was skeptical and getting a little rude. She didn't have time to be dragged into an extended conversation by a flirty salesman that she wasn't going to buy anything from anyway. My mother owned the house at the other end of the common. I need to empty it of its contents, and I can't even begin to think about how to do that. He winced a bit as he spoke. I thought maybe I could hire you to help me go through things, identify what might be a collectible or antique, and then have an estate sale. Why would you want me to help you with that? Don't you want an auction house? She was busying herself behind the counter to avoid eye contact. Well, for starters, I don't think there's a lot of antiques in the house. Mostly, I just don't know what resale value is for anything. Seeing how you're in the business, I figure you would be a good one to help out. And you seem like an honest person who will call it like it is. Oh, really? You don't know me. You have no idea if I'm honest or not. I don't know you, but I've asked around town. You have a good reputation, and I can get a good sense of people. Oh, really? And how's that? You have some special talent for it? She countered. Well, actually, I do. I see auras, he explained reluctantly, shuffling his feet a bit. Auras? Marybeth asked, only half interested. Auras are the electromagnetic field surrounding one's body. I can actually see them. Your aura suggests that you're an honest person, uncomplicated. Well, stop staring at my auras, she blurted out. Oddly, she felt very exposed. This turn in the conversation made her think again about her weird weekend. Had she caught some strange bug and fell down a rabbit hole into Wonderland? Sorry, he said. It's not something I can turn off. He held out his hand. My name's Josh Anderson. My mom owns the red Victorian house at the other end of the common. She shook his hand reluctantly, wondering what else he could do besides say auras, whatever that was. Marybeth Collette, she said as she shook his hand. Nice to meet you. Likewise, he replied. Marybeth, that's a name you don't hear much these days. Some people call me MB, she offered almost shyly. She figured, what the heck, try it on. Okay, MB. So what do you say? Can I pay you by the hour with a commission on the estate sale? Marybeth couldn't argue that it was a sweet offer. Her years of yard selling had given her an idea of the secondhand value of things, and although she was not an antique or collectible expert, she prided herself on identifying things of higher value. It wasn't her main interest, though, and when she spotted such a thing at a yard sale, she would let the seller know that they might want to have a dealer look at it. So, Josh, she used his name with a fake sense of familiarity. When are you thinking this is going to happen? Well, MB, he replied, I was hoping for a weekend in fall when the leaf peepers are at a high. Leaf peepers was a slang term for those city people who drove out to the burbs when the fall colors were at their most magnificent. Marybeth understood this need. Fall was her favorite season by far. She was always stunned by the majesty of nature at this time of year, when the trees gave up the glorious colors they had been hiding all summer, like a wonderful secret revealed. These days, after divorce, autumn brought a comforting urge to settle down for the winter with the indoor projects and hot cocoa. The Jack-o'-lantern festival is the third weekend in October. How about then? Marybeth proposed. Does that mean you'll do it? Josh asked, with a bit of excitement in his voice. Yeah, why not? They spent the next 30 minutes hashing out the details. $30 per hour and 25% commission, pending final approval after Marybeth visited the house. She was cautious to avoid taking on someone's hoarding nightmare. They both felt it was fair, and Marybeth made plans to visit the house this weekend when she was out and about yard sale. Josh left her with the address, and out the door he went. Suddenly, a hushed voice came from behind her. OMG, MB. She turned to see Angie in the doorway to the back room, speaking in code and hand gestures. That man was easy on the eyes, honey. Woo woo. She was saying, waving two fingers from her eyes to the closed shop door and back repeatedly. Marybeth couldn't help but smile back at her and shake her head. Truth was, she hadn't noticed. Was she really that far gone? She had developed a healthy skepticism about men and hadn't had much interest in relationships in a while. As much as she avoided relationships, her ex seemed to embrace them, hopping from bed to bed all over town. It was embarrassing, to say the least. She pretended she didn't know about it, and everyone else in town did the same. Nonetheless, it was painful the way he moved on and on and on. She pushed the thought out of her mind. She had been down that road before and knew it would be unproductive. I hadn't noticed, she replied. Are you dead, girl? Angie shot back. Could be, Marybeth replied, wanting to avoid this conversation. But at the moment, I'm happier that way. You can't avoid men forever, you know, Angie challenged. I'm betting that I can. Now, why don't you help me with the purged items? I haven't had a chance to take them out of inventory. Sure thing, MB, Angie replied. Every month they cleared the shelves of items that had been there for more than 90 days and included them in the delivery to the shelter, figuring that the universe was just getting things where they needed to be. This go with the flow attitude was new for her after divorce, and she didn't claim to have any deep understanding of things mystical. Now she was wishing she had given it a little bit more thought. What forces, if any, were messing up her perfectly predictable life, and why? Not only did she have magical objects in her possession now, but she had aura reader showing up on the scene. What's next? She made herself a sticky note to ask Google later about aura reading. We've come to the end of the chapter. I hope you stayed with me. And I hope you're feeling better than when we started. Sometimes all it takes is a little vacay in the middle of the day. If you're wanting a little more of the story, check out the playlist for the last yard sale by chapter. And there are a lot of other stories here on my channel to listen to as well. Or you can check out my website, marie-leclaire.com. You can find my novels directly on Amazon too. The links are in the description below. And please take a moment before you go to like and comment. See you at the next vacay. I wonder where that will be.